How's everyone doing today? What up, George?
How you doing?
Not too bad. I've had a fun month. I've pretty much went 100% in cash. How about you?
I've been playing some IPOs.
Fig. FIG.
Oh, Fig. I'm not in it right now, but I played the IPO day, and I did the same thing with Bullish. I sent you a text, but I didn't hear you back. I was going to do a presentation on Bullish, but then I realized Bullish was IPOing the day before a meeting.
I just saw your text again. I remember you sending me a text. I thought I responded, but the fallacy of human memory, right? I realized I did not send the word YES to you. It's okay. We're going to take a look at the stock later because I like IPOs. I like tracking all the IPOs as much as possible.
I played Fig and Bullish, but I'm out of both now. In the green, just on the day it IPO.
Heck yeah, dude. Good job. I was a little scared because I was looking, first day, ooh, great. Second day, man, Georgia's genius. Third day,
I called Schwab, and they're not participating in any IPOs until they get another bank. You just have to check your platform, type in the symbol until it shows up, and then you jump in on it. And that's what I did. It took forever because they don't IPO on the 9:30 Eastern. They usually IPO 12:30, 1, 2 Eastern.
yes.
And then you got to go. I got out real quick. I got my profit and I took off.
Good job. How'd you like mentally handle that profit taking? Because that's not an easy thing for anyone to do.
It's frustrating because I talked to other people who have Robinhood and they gave them one share. What am I going to do with one share? I'm going to make any money on one silly share. I'd still
Nothing.
take it if you want to keep it long term. So I had to play the open, and they don't alert you like, oh, at 10 o'clock today, Fig is going to IPO at this price. You can put a limit order before, but if you put a limit order at face $50 and it opens at $50 and a penny, you're not going to get filled. So you got to front run the price, which is not easy. Then you got to watch it like a hawk, and then you got to get out. And when Bullish IPO'd at 90, it's like, oh, this is ridiculous. So I took a profit. I was lucky more than anything, but I was hoping they would IPO at 70 and go to 120, but it didn't do that.
Yes. It was definitely a very volatile stock. How did trading go? Hey, Floyd, you're here. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, man. I'm still getting over COVID, so I'm going to leave myself on mute most of the time because I've got a pretty bad cough, but I thought I would join the crew, and last week was horrible. This week was better.
I'm glad.
Do you have that razor throat they say the new COVID is?
No, I did not get the razor throat, thankfully. But anyway, we're here. The old dog is going to survive.
Yes. I'm glad to hear. Hey, Floyd, I was thinking if I make the IBD meetups at 5 p.m. with your work schedule, would you still be able to attend the meetings?
5 p.m. your time?
Yes. So 1 hour earlier.
4 p.m. here?
Yes.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends on work activities and meetings and et cetera, or I can always join a little late.
Okay.
No, you gotta do what's best for the group.
Yes.
For us up here in Alaska, 4 o'clock would be a little early, but you got to think of the overall group. I used to start at 7 o'clock. Then we moved it to 6 and then 5. So it's evolved over time.
I still feel that you're definitely essential to the group. So I'm sure everyone will appreciate that every single time that you sign on.
I see Carl's on here. Carl, are you up here in Alaska?
Yes, I am. Got to watch the Russians.
Yeah. The question was, if they started at 4 p.m., would that knock you out?
Depends on the month.
Yeah, I understand.
Maybe I'll ask a poll. It definitely depends on the whole group. So I'll do a poll after all the changes are in place.
We always try to encourage maximum participation when possible.
Yes.
I'm going to go back on mute because I'm going to start coughing here.
Feel better, Floyd. Welcome to the latest investing group. No longer IBD. We are now leverage, ETF, and growth stocks. I've been doing some interesting things lately. One of the things I've been trying to do is easy historical access to all the documentations. I've been working on a new email connected to haleyinsights@gmail.com. I've been trying to make a YouTube archive. And within the YouTube archive, I'm trying to make every single video upscaling it to 4K. And that's what I've been doing in the back end. And it's been taking a little bit longer than I would have liked. And let me show you. What I've been working is that, so pretty much almost every single, a lot of meetings you see over here, March 2024, October 2023, December 22. What I've been trying to do is that if we click on one of these and we go to the link, this is standard HD. I haven't corrected every video yet. What you're going to get is you're going to see all of us. You're going to see little chapters around. You're going to be able to go fast forward a little bit. If some of you guys have quick minds, 1.5 speed, you're going to have closed captioning. So when people speak on here, you can turn on closed captioning. If you're trying to watch on the go or at work, you can see the closed caption. So this is what I've been working on right now. Any questions on this at the moment? Cool. Look forward to it. So since I've been media leader, I've been asked multiple questions. So, hey, Haley, can I get the actual recording? The answer is yes. I'm going to give you the copy of the presentation slides and the video, because this way I can give the whole community the format that they'd like, because we're humans, we're changing all the time. But hey, if I can make your life easier by just sending out one email with a link to my Google Drive or OneDrive and just upload it as a video archive for you. My only request is if you do post it online, I don't want any of us to get in trouble, because I might say something or someone else might say something that could be construed as investment advice. Speaking of that, I haven't read the disclaimer. Informational purposes only, and should not be interpreted as investment advice, endorsement, or recommendation to buy, sell, hold any specific securities. I'm a volunteer, not paid for this presentation. Investing carries significant risk, including the possibility of substantial losses. You should conduct your own independent research and carefully consider your financial situation and seek professional guidance before making any investment decision. Neither I nor any individual associate is liable for any investment decisions made based on this information. If you guys share videos with each other privately, it's okay. But when it's public, I get a little bit more scrutiny, and I don't want to get involved into a lawsuit. That's why the historical archives on YouTube, I want to make sure that nobody gets in trouble. I'll end up watching every single meeting as time goes on. So what we're going to go over is the leverage ETF updates, stock market today, how's it going, through like some woo indicators. I just talked about historical video archive. I've been working on this quite a long time.
Can you make it so that there is just the slide that you're on? Right now we see many slides on the side and one slide in the middle.
How
And
does
it's
this
very
look?
small?
Is that better?
I just see you.
How about now?
There we go.
Thank you, Scott. I think. Okay, so now let's go to group discussion and let's pick some stocks to discuss. We talked about FIGs, so I'm going to go directly to FIGs. Give me one moment. Cool. We're on my screen. So George and I were talking about FIG, right? Remember that presentation last month? It opened, IPO'd at 33, and then it closed on the first day at 115. I was telling George, day one, day two, you're doing good. You're doing golden. But on day three, I was like, this 27% drop. I was a little afraid. So even though it was a darling, you have to watch how you trade. Luckily, George was in the green. Kudos to you, George. Is there any other stocks that anyone wants me or anyone else in the group to analyze? Oh, that one's a rocket ship. A second. I'm also pulling up the chat to make sure that I get all the questions. NBIS.
Correct.
Let's see what's going on. I'm going to make this screen a little bit bigger. Okay, NBIS. Let's see, weekly chart. We always do that. My eyesight always goes from the left. Yearly earnings. It's still used to make money. Now it's bleeding. Book value 5. Industries, computer software, enterprise. I'm surprised about that. Earnings has just been bleeding. It's going to bleed even more. Sales is going insane because it's making more sales, but still bleeding money. And earnings is dropping off. That's a little bit scary. But if we look at the price action, generally speaking, it's on an uptrend, which is surprising. Let's see if there's any large mutual funds that own it. Wow, they took a full position. If it's 1.46% of their portfolio. Interesting. Let's look into the specifics on the daily chart. Heads high, lower low, higher high. It goes in, breaks the 200, does fall to 50, breaks the 21. So there's a slight respect of the 50-day moving average. This is what earnings play. The earnings surprise was 5 cents positive. Not too bad. The S&P 500 was flat. What's interesting about this, George, to you?
I just think a great niche and much better than CoreWeave.
Much better than CoreWeave. It's the ultimate cloud for AI innovators. They make GPU clusters. So they're just renting. There's just a data center for AI.
It has very few funds in it, actually. There's still a lot that could jump in.
Shares of float is about 200. Market cap's about 16 bill. Wow. 16 billion on. How many sales do you? What's their total sales? It's in 2024 was 100 million. Holy moly. 100x sales. Wow. But they're doing something that a lot of people are trying to get. How would you play this? I don't see too many entry points for myself. There's a gap up, and we can play the low of the earnings gap right over here. Because my rule set doesn't have any strategy for a stock this volatile. Okay. Let's move on. Snowflake. Same process. Left side, making money, making more money, lost some money, and it's getting down on 2025 for some reason. We had look at the earnings line. It has been pretty flat since 2023. Something happened in 2024 that they reduced their earnings for some reason. Maybe self-reinvestment, sales is going up. Volume is drying up ever so slightly because it's slightly going down, but it's consolidating a little bit. There's not too much historical activity on CoreWeave because it went up, went down, went back up, went down, went sideways. The trend is probably flat, if not biased downwards. Even with this huge consolidation of 2022 of over a year, it only went up barely anything. This is following the
It
earnings
is
line.
forming a Wyckoff base accumulation. If you look at the volume bars, you will see there are two prominent blue volume bars, that one and the one before that. So it's trying to form the base, and if the earnings come out good, then it has a potential to move up.
I'm not too good with Wyckoff bars. Could you elaborate a little bit more on the Wyckoff, Yogesh?
Wyckoff method is a way to identify bottoming stocks. It goes with accumulation. Then, of course, you have the uptrend. So you can say accumulation would be like stage one of a Weinstein analysis. Then the uptrend starts, that's the stage two. Then you have stage three, where you will have distribution, and then the drop off, which is stage four. In Weinstein, you are looking at whether the stock is above its 30-week moving average, kind of easiest way to look at it. In Wyckoff, you look at volume, OBV. In this case, you can check OBV, on balance volume, to make it simpler. You can also look at relative strength if you want. But essentially, Wyckoff doesn't rely on any indicators. It goes with the price action and the volume. So as you can see, the price action is moving in a band. If you see the recent volume, you can see those very big blue bars, but we don't see big red bars anymore, which you were seeing before those blue bars. So the selling is done, and now the accumulation has started. Institutions are accumulating the stock. If the earnings come out good, then it should start moving up slowly.
I'm going to set an alert on my personal calendar to look at Snowflake on August 27th.
I had taken a position on it when it crossed the moving averages sometime back in April when it came above. And then I played it all the way towards 200 price tag and I got out of it. But essentially now it is at a point where if the earnings are good, essentially it will break out of 220 area and then it will start moving up.
And
And if you look at the EPS growth, you will see Feb was negative, May is positive, so that is showing accelerating EPS growth and double-digit sales growth. They're not accelerating, but they are double-digit sales.
yes, definitely. It's actually really cool. I typically go to stage 2 because there's a confirmed people have
Right.
been making money on it. But
Yep.
stage 1 for me is a little harder to play.
So stage 1 is the area where institution starts accumulating. And it's hard to play. Yes, unless you understand what's going on, most people cannot withstand that because it can go longer than you expect.
Yogesh, you might have to show us how to play a stage 1 basis.
Sure, we'll do that.
Just like Shazam. I used to use it. Let's see how its earnings done. Actually, I'm gonna take a quick note, and I'll email you later, Yogesh, about potential presentation on first stage basis. So SoundHound earnings, losing money still. 2025, you're actually breaking even. How the heck is it even surviving these past years? Earnings went up. Now it's going flat. This is highly volatile. Gary, I was curious. How come you suggested this stock?
It's a stock that I'm in. I bought it because of a couple of specific things. It had earnings and it had, are you familiar with viable gap ups?
Yes.
It had a nice viable gap up. Both of these are very similar, SoundHound and GH, you can see. They had viable gap ups on the daily. They had decent closing range, but they had significant volume activity that day. And then they followed through the following day. I trade primarily off of weekly charts, keep track of the daily charts, especially during earnings time. If you look at the daily, you can see there's a long channel base that's formed here. A bottom in the about $9 and a top up there. It had been basing for a number of months. When earnings came out and it popped and closed around the top of that basing channel and broke out the next day, for me, that was a buy signal to get in. And if you go back to the weekly real quick and take a look, you'll see that prior to the breakout, it had been turned up and was forming a kind of a soft cup base, but it hadn't been anywhere close to completing the base. All the moving averages had turned up in a way that I need them to align. When it broke out the following week, it was just an opportunity to get in. And if you go to GH, you're going to see pretty much the same story.
How did you come across SoundHound?
I knew it had earnings coming up that week. It's a name that has been in play before, and I'm trying to remember who has a piece of the action. Maybe it's Nvidia that invested some money in it. There were multiple reasons to be following it. I have a lot of different market search screens, and that's how both of these came up on my radar.
So to
On
find a stock like SoundHound, go for a scan where the volume is more than 10x the average volume on daily. And these stocks will show.
Yeah, a volume scan would pick this up. A viable gap up scan would pick this up because it came up through 3 moving averages on the day that it had the viable gap up. Screening for either of those two things would have picked this one up.
Interesting. Let's go through that.
The volume was huge on the viable gap up day, 400%.
106.
That's talking to you, baby.
That is talking. Bosch Health just had 1,500% volume. Amy Smith is no longer with IBD, who used to run the meetup. So bless her heart, she used to tell us, if you have triple digits volume explosion, watch out for that. Trello is a Kanban software I use for my daily tasks. So she gave us Trello as an example. But when you have these huge volume spikes, that's when we really need to watch out. When you have those big volume bars and the pink volume bars, we should really start paying attention. Let's go through an exercise with us too, Gary. What do you think of this volume explosion screen? Sales acceleration last 2 quarters, 50-day volume, at least 10 million plus. Price change, It needs to be positive, and I want triple digit volume. Is there anything I should refine?
I would put the price change in 1% just to make sure it's a green volume day and not a red volume day.
You got it.
You may want to remove the sales acceleration because some of these don't have it.
Yeah.
Oh, that is true. So if I take this guy out,
That's a fundamental criteria that you put in there. And I think you want to keep this as a technical screen.
because I was thinking of adding the fundamentals, but I can always sort the fundamentals after I get the technicals.
Yeah.
I like that. I'd rather have a bigger net, and I can narrow it down,
Yeah.
especially with 20.
You can look at CRNC. That also had a volume explosion back in December of 24 or November of 24. And then you see where it went from $6 all the way to $40. A lot of these may not have good fundamentals when the volume explodes on it. It usually explodes because some big company take a stake in that firm or something like that, or some news comes out, they have won some contract in government or whatever it is.
They wouldn't have sales acceleration for 2 quarters. There's no way this would have came on my screen.
If you go back to when you were putting this in, you flashed on C3AI, and you can see that it had a big volume day, but it was all to the down volume side. And that's why you want to make sure that you have a green bar for the day that you're screening for. If the close is higher than the open, depending on your platform, you want to make sure that's a positive number so you don't pick up stuff like that.
Yeah, and the close is also above the previous close.
Or you could put in a closing range of 70% or higher. There's different ways you can manipulate that to make sure you don't pick up something like this.
Because it's like, this is a big volume day. Offset N.
An awful volume day.
That was awful. Thank you, Gary. Helpful where I was mixing up fundamentals and technicals. I'm glad to have you guys here. I remember you saying you bought a little gap up.
I let this one play out a little bit because on the gap up day, I didn't like the way it closed. It closed in the lower half of the bar. So I let it play out the rest of that week, if I remember right, and then bought it after it pushed through around 55. So I'm in it pretty high. If you go to a weekly, it probably makes more sense where I bought it.
Yes,
So
it does. Because you're just going above the high cup with handle, and then you're buying over here. Stalling days scare the shit out of me. Especially like a gap up and you stall. But this stalled a little bit and just went flying. These are always the hardest ones to hold for me.
I like to see things close in the upper 70% range of the bar, and this one didn't succeed at that, which made me concerned. If you really pulled back into its previous base, you can see 53.42, and it closed below that. So I was a little concerned if this one maybe was going to fizzle and fail. I let it play out for a while before I decided to take a position in it.
Did you buy it on the gap up day and keep it, or do you buy it then sold it?
No, I did not buy it on the gap up day. I watched it trade on the gap up day. I usually don't buy anything early in the morning. I like to wait till later in the day. As it was fading through the day, I decided I wasn't going to buy it. It didn't make any progress for a few days, but it did close the week strong. It wasn't until it closed that buy-up gap week that I decided it was a stock I should play.
So on the 7th was the Thursday, and then on the 8th it was the Friday. And it did close out that week pretty darn strong, just like you said, on the weekly. That's why your in price is about 55.
Yeah. So you can see that it closed within the pivot range that IBD gives it. And by the end of the week, that second day made a big difference because it now was closing at the top of its range for the week. And it was right there at the pivot, and it had been in the pivot before and pulled back and bounced off the 200-day, was back in the pivot. When I looked at the earnings numbers, I thought, okay, I think this thing's back in play. I'll buy it.
That's amazing. I'm just thinking about what Lee said. There's 2 different types of blue bars, right? the power up from the bottom or straight up from bottom. I still have a tough time telling if this is a straight up from bottom or a power up from bottom, but it's starting to look like power up from bottom because you have a 78% volume that goes up and then it follows through. This week hasn't ended yet. We don't know how it's going to end on Friday. Probably still going to be above average volume, and volume has been tricking up.
If you look back through the recent trading history, you can see that the 40-week line has been pretty good support for it. It's never broken that line. So that was another factor that played in there. It came down to that black line and jumped off of that. There were reasons to take a position in it, but there were also reasons to monitor it and be quick to get out of it if it were to fail. So
Doesn't matter how long it doesn't touch. Like I know some people said, "Hey, I need at least 18 bars to make sure that it doesn't
I'm
bother."
on weekly charts. I live off of weekly charts, and I do most of my work on weekends. This is pretty identifiable on a weekly chart as having support at the 40-week line.
Do you have any work besides trading?
No, I'm retired.
Nice. Time to join Gary in retirement. Thank you for the comments on both sound and insights into your trading. You seem very methodical and like pretty rule-based. So that's pretty amazing. We have Carl from Alaska. He's asking about Spotify technology. What the heck happened to this earnings release? What is going on? Your earnings is decelerating. It's a music-based industry. The joke of the day is hasn't put Spotify AI technology yet, so that's why it's not roaring up. Sales, that's how it's going. It's actually been accelerating every single quarter. Earnings. Does anyone know what happened here for Spotify to lose 50 cents per share in June 2025 quarter?
I'm not sure, but I think the numbers and the expectations were out of line with each other.
Yeah, this is crazy. If you're having earnings surprise from positive to negative, and we look at the weekly chart and it didn't really drop that much, 10%. And then it recovered the next week. That's interesting. Low premium subscriber growth was only supposed to be 5 million and it was only 4.
Yeah, they were
Holy
supposed to make 247 and they lost 47.
That 20% subscriber reduction in Spotify made them lose a bunch of money. So stock to watch out for. But stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, this is stage 5. No, this is stage 5. That's stage 6. Potential late stage base. Not too sure. Let's look at a daily chart, see how that's faring. And did gap down on that earnings. Did a little dance and is trying to go past the 50-day moving average. We're going to see where this guy ends up. And Carl, how come you mentioned Spot?
Seemed like it was getting a rocket for a while there, and they had a double bottom, so I was following it from that.
That double bottom, I think, actually hit 25%. Did it hit 25% profit? 785, 621, about $100 on 6. It didn't quite hit 25%. Yeah, but it looks pretty darn good. Tight bases, tight formations. We look at green volume. We have blue volume bars on the volume. We're still seeing how this plays out right now. We looked at that one red bar, consolidated a bit, and just went back up. See the different red volume bars and see how it goes. Even this uptrend to downtrend. So we see skyscrapers of red. That's a big problem. But right now, we're still playing out according to Slim methodology, which I still practice. We're seeing how it does at pivot points. We can draw earlier trend lines. Maybe we can do a power of 3 for the 50, 10, and the 21 day to see how it goes as it slowly crawls up. Maybe it'll consolidate a little more. I do use Spotify. I like the service. They're trying to implement new AI technologies with personalized DJs. So they are trying to be really innovative. Anyone have any comments on Spot? Cool. We have DLO from Mr. George. Let's see what's going on. Oof. What the heck? Eurogate-based company cloud platform to global enterprise merchants in 40 countries. Short interest is 10.6 days. It's earning money, which is sales have been going up. Percent change have been a little interesting, been a little inconsistent. And earnings looks to have flatlined a little bit, which does show around here. Let's look at the daily chart. Earnings, you surprised earnings by a little bit, and you had a 31.31% day. Pretty numbers, right? We still have some overhead resistance. We're going to go back to the weekly chart. I actually played this stock at a 7% loss back in 21. I'm going to draw some lines, see if anything connects, seeing where things are going. Now that's a pretty line. And George, what made you interested in this stock?
I listened to the conference call. It's very bullish. They have a good leader, Pedro. They partner with another company, Digi9. It'll help with remittances to Africa. They're doing a lot of things in the right way. And I think it'll do well.
I've been looking into virtual assistants for my real estate business. People in Africa are very entrepreneurial, really trying to get work, which I'm very surprised. Africa's an interesting play. It's like the new China. Are you in this position, George?
Yes.
How'd you play this?
More on what I heard than the charts.
Nice. So that big and canceling is that big N factor, a new factor.
Yeah, their conference call was extremely bullish. And
What stood out to you in that conference call?
they're doing something with stable coins, and that's very hot right now. They're making the right deals, like they did the partnership that's going to do with Africa, the remittances for Africa. So that's a big market, and they're expanding. They're doing the right acquisitions.
Definitely big N factor. Maybe become the payment processor. I wonder if this can be a repeat of Brazil, where it's really hard to get payment processing done, even though it's a very economically vibrant country. Anyone else have any thoughts, comments, insights into DLO? Moving on.
Look at the volume today. It is very similar to GH or Sean or CRNC. You can look at the daily volume.
1,295%. Absolutely ridiculous. This is 20 million volume. So at least in the past over a year, almost 2 years, it probably hasn't reached that much volume in a single day. That's just crazy. Thank you for pointing that out, Yogesh. Now we have Larry. He's asking for the stock GEV. So it's a spinoff from GE. Wow, this is phenomenal. Earnings, beautiful. Sales, trending up. Earnings per share, great. Larry, I felt like you've asked for this stock before. How'd you come across this? Yeah, if you're speaking right now, we can't hear you.
He wrote leaderboard.
Ah, leaderboard. Thank you, George. I was looking through a few things. This is quite nice. We look at volume. We see a 40% volume spike. We see volume trending downwards slightly. Maybe it's a quiet accumulation. I'm not sure. Earnings surprise, 25% was received very well. Over here, the earnings wasn't received as well until the second day. This one is a general market downturn where it goes down, and this goes down, which is fine. And then when it goes up, 225 to 677. Ooh, that is a growth stock right there. That is a pretty cool play. Sustainable electric power systems. Not bad. Sales, it's not growing too much. Earnings is definitely a rocket ship up. But I do worry about the slightly downtrending EPS line. But hey, maybe it's just for this quarter. We don't know. but I still appreciate you submitting the stock for us to review. Jennifer has said SoundCloud also has automotive, food, and cloud partners. So there is multiple things that's going on with Sound that on a cursory glance we might not be able to see. Jennifer says we want to take a look at Arista Networks. I'm going to take a look at the monthly because this monthly chart always looks absolutely crazy to me. Because, hey, what happens if you bought it in that little COVID dip? You bought it for what? Multiple stock splits, $10, you would, what, 13x by then? If you bought at the low. But you bought at the high. Hey, not bad. Still a 5x stock. There's still been some volatility in the past few months, especially on the most current dip. But after it dipped to what? The low of 60, it pretty much rocketed to double. But let's look at fundamentals now. Earnings per share, double digits. This EPS line is just going up, isn't it? Yep, it is. The EPS line keeps on going. Earnings per share keeps going higher. This is like accumulating more, even though Fidelity is deaccumulating. So the other leaders. Interesting. 171 billion. I think we just talked about another stock with network centers. Which one was it? Quite amazing. Let's look at the previous high. Could you repeat that one more time? I couldn't quite hear.
I was going to ask Jennifer if she was in this stock.
Yeah, I am.
Good.
Would you mind giving us some insights about where you got in, how you got in?
I work in IT, and their switches are always with Nvidia in data centers. I've been hearing a lot of talk about Nvidia considering a partnership with them because they are such a complementary player.
And is Arista Network buying the Nvidia chips to make it into a data center so that other companies can use?
No, in the data centers, Arista provides the switch and Nvidia is the GPU.
Gotcha. Switch and Nvidia is the GPU, the processing unit. Gotcha.
Correct.
Does everyone understand that?
I think it's more like a Cisco, but
Exactly.
faster moving Cisco.
Does Cisco still exist?
Yeah, they're one of the highest competitors. But the EPS is much higher than Cisco.
It is. Interesting. Nvidia also has enough money to just buy Arista.
Yeah.
That'd be a crazy play. So, you want to make a comparison? ANET, 170 million. Nvidia, 3 trillion, 5 trillion, 4 trillion. Oh. If you guys are curious what these black bars mean, I'm finally getting out of my Nvidia position. It's a little frothy for me. So I've been getting out of my Nvidia about $2.50. And I'm starting to sell positions ever so slightly. Because I think it's this whole market. How do other people feel about this market?
I bought Egyptian bonds the other day.
Oh man, I know. So I like Qs, like bond
It's very
buying day right
pricey.
there. You're saying it's a little pricey.
The market is a very pricey market.
Yes, depends what people want to believe. People have been telling me, "Oh my gosh, the Buffett indicator, the GDP over market cap, it's over 200. It's been over 200 for at least 8 months now." And I'm like, "But it's still going up." You look at the past few months, ever since November, December. That's when I know the Buffett indicator was still at 200.
It's at 213.
Actually, where do you get your Buffett indicator, George?
I think it's BuffettNet.net maybe. And it shows a little pie chart from green to red. Don't quote me on that, but just type in Buffett indicator.
I see it. Let me share a different screen. Oh, wait, what? Give me a sec. My website's not loading. I use the Brave browser. Does anyone else use any other site for the Buffett indicator? I'm doing a quick Google.
If you go
Like-
to Google and type in Buffett indicator, I'll show you which one it is.
You got it. Switching screens now.
think it's the one down there, U.S. Buffett indicator,
Where do you see U.S. Buffett indicator?
towards the bottom. It's in blue, aqua. Up there.
This one?
No, I think it's that one. It'll show a pie chart. No, that's not it. Damn it.
It's okay. We'll look at that later.
Yeah, it's a chart from 1970, and it's at an all-time high.
Is it this one?
No, the one I use as a pie chart. It's like fear and greed indicator. You ever seen that one?
Yes.
It's similar to that, and it's in the dark red.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so we're just chatting today. We're looking at what people are invested in. Laura said something interesting. Buffett has new buys in about 4 different companies: DHI, LEN, and UE. Wow. He's re-upping some of his holdings. Let's take a look at some more charts, shall we? Home builder stocks. Wow. So if you don't know, I'm in real estate, and I travel the whole United States for real estate, mainly as investments. And maybe I'm too into the industry and entrenched in it, but I'm just seeing supply just dawdle down, developers not building as much, and a lot of real estate syndication is almost flopping right now. I'm very
What NAIL did today.
It's BuffettIndicator.net.
It may be anticipation of 2 or 3 interest rates drops between now and the end of the year.
Yep, that's what's driving it.
maybe I'm too contrarian. The bond markets are telling us like 80% chance of interest rates dropping. Almost everyone's telling me I'm gonna wait 1 more month before I buy. But I've heard this story multiple times.
I wouldn't buy now.
I'm trying to buy now. If you can be cheap house, I'll buy any house if it's cheap enough. But sellers have been holding their feet. Thank you, Jennifer, for Buffett Indicator. Thank you, George. There's something wrong with my browser. I cannot load Buffett Indicator net. You know what I'm gonna do?
But just because they lower interest rate doesn't mean you get a better loan, because it's tied to the 10-year bond yield, what Powell does.
Hey, you're more educated than the average homeowner. Every single homeowner I talk to, I'm gonna wait until September hits, and then when they lower interest rates, I'll get a lower mortgage. Not true. Props to you for knowing, George. Okay, let's go back. We did not look at the other 2 Buffett stocks. We just look at the home builders. And thank you, Floyd, for chipping in about Nucor Steel Manufacturing. Dropping EPS line. Book value is almost 1 or 1.5. Sales. Let's see if any other funds are owning it. No funds are owning it. Mainly just Buffett. And it's been consoled. I'm going to go to monthly chart because Nucor is an old company. It's been horizontal. Interesting. It looks like a big monthly step pattern. Steps goes up. And this is over multi-decade. We'll see. And UNH. That monthly chart hurts. The weekly chart hurts.
That's probably why he's buying it. He's a value investor.
I gotta look at the monthly chart. So prices are back at 7 years ago. So if he's a value investor, his earnings has probably been going up and price has been, yeah, I can see why. You've been making more money and all of a sudden the market doesn't like it. 7 years ago price, earnings was at $3 here. And now you've doubled earnings. I can see why Buffett's excited.
There is some Justice Department case going against UNH after hours today. Usually, if you track whatever Buffett buys, the stock comes down to the same level or even drops below before it turns around.
How'd you find that out, Yogesh?
You can find out how many stocks Buffett has bought, right? You can just go and check what happened to the stock after he bought it. The next 2-3 days, the stock goes up and then slowly drags down. And I've met people who say that they just track that, and then once the stock is below the previous level before Buffett bought it, they buy at that level and then sit on it for 5 years.
Damn. Have they been doing well? Do you know?
Yeah.
The stock is down more because of events than actual bad management of the company. You had the CEO being shot on the street, made an investigation by Medicare on some of their practices. The guy they brought in was a good guy, and he's the kind of guy that can fix this company. Most of the health insurance companies are looking for about a 30 to 40% rate increase for next year. That's what they've petitioned the government for in different places. I think there's a number of factors here that made this appealing to Buffett.
That makes sense. And usually goes back to there.
Yeah.
That'll be amazing. James is saying there's a United Healthcare Medicare fraud. I assume that's what the Justice Department is investigating.
Then will get resolved sooner than later, and maybe they pay a fine, but they don't go out of business. It's a temporary setback.
Now, looking at the earnings, they're doing quite well for themselves.
I wonder if Buffett's reputation can do nothing but help the stock. He wouldn't be in a fraudulent company.
But
No,
Oh,
but
that is
Buffett
true.
doesn't buy normal shares. He buys preferred. So there are different conditions than all of us.
He always has an edge somehow. I agree. He'll end up benefiting from this too. His
Sure.
credibility is he's sticking his neck out.
Yep. And back in 2008, he ingested Bank of America with $5 billion back then.
Perfect example. Yep.
And his approach will be a long-term hold. After hours tonight, it's up about 30, I can't remember what it was, $35, $37, $32, something like that. Real bounce in the morning.
He likes cash cows.
How much cash does this guy have? $30. Wow.
And just looking real quick to see if it paid a dividend and what the dividend was.
3.26. Like those are things I'm thinking about video. Those parts will accidentally disappear from the video recording when it gets published. So don't you guys worry. Let's go back to my slides. Feel free to keep on shooting me.
Yeah.
So performance-wise, I'm done this year, guys. I'm at 43% portfolio growth performance already. You can see the slat line over here. I sold pretty much after our meeting for the past year. I'm pretty good. If I have 43% gain every single year, I'm beating almost everybody in the market. Unless the NASDAQ goes up another 40%, I missed the whole thing. That has happened before. Where I'm like, I made 30% this year. I'm happy. All of a sudden, NASDAQ has been up 30%. I'm like, damn, I didn't have to trade this year. I just held it. That happens. I did make an announcement last time. IBD was ending meetups, and they finally did end the meetups on July 22nd. The group is now going to continue without the IBD name, which is perfectly okay. I think we're still a pretty close-knit group, especially with our discussions tonight. I like how we're going. George points out little IPOs. Jennifer will share her tidbits about how she thinks about ANET. Different people will also put in little itty-bitty things and their perspective. Will chimes in about a little different things. So I highly appreciate these conversations. George mentioned, compared to other San Francisco Bay Area groups, we tend to have more of a personalized connection, and it's not one or two people dominating conversation. I view myself as I'm not the smartest, I'm not the best. We all have different specialties, and we all contribute to each other's trading. So I highly appreciate little hyperfixations will help each other. George might listen to conference calls, which I don't ever listen to anymore. Someone else might be reading the 10Ks and Qs and might catch a bit of Enron inside there. I highly appreciate all this community on us talking about our specialties. If I'm calling the group leverage ETFs, let's talk about leverage strategy. What the heck happened here? So we know at the beginning of the year, the first time they bought was over here. And what ended up happening is that, where is the stop out here? I think that's the buy point. Oh, there's the sell point. So they sold at pretty much at beginning of February. Then all the way until the downtrend, that's when they bought and sold. There was an exit to cash on August 1st, the bond buying day. There was a huge stalling day on August 1st that ended up buying and went to pretty much pure cash. And we're going to take a look on this on a chart. Where are you, Market Smith? So that was the TQQQ. QQQ. Excuse my cues. So what ended up happening? This big fat stalling day that absolutely hurts. For me, I don't mind you guys seeing all my trades. For my TQQ trade, around 53, it goes up. Stalling day, fine. One of my rules of trading is that I like sleep. I like to eat in peace. I woke up and couldn't stop thinking about selling. At the end of the day, my brain was still pinging me. So if I lose sleep, if I'm not eating well, if I'm losing my health, I sell. If I made 40% in a year, be happy, spend some money, buy something for yourself. So I end up buying what I buy for myself. Bought a little trinket that I've been eyeing. It's just a nice little reward. It's like, hey, did a good trade. Just take your profits and run.
Any reason why you did not stagger it rather than just sell off at one chunk?
I could have done that in the past. I just didn't want to think about it anymore. Sometimes I say it's a 1 or 0. I don't want to think about this anymore.
You're going to be in cash for the rest of the year?
I hope not.
And you don't want to miss the fourth quarter.
I should be buying back in next month according to my trading history, because September tends to come back a little nice. August tends to be a little slow, but we'll see what happens. I accidentally beat the leverage edge trading strategy at 81, but I also bought way too high according to the leverage edge strategy. Is anyone here in the audience still in TQQQ? If so,
Floyd here. Yeah, I am. And I have 100 strike options that expire worthless tomorrow that I got about $1.30 or so about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So they're going to expire worthless tomorrow. And I'll reassess and decide, do I want to continue holding TQQ? And do I want to sell another batch of covered call options or not? I'm in TQQ, FAS, TNA, and SOXL. SOXL has been quite a challenge, but I got in at a super low price. The implication seems to be with what businesses are reporting, potential drop in interest rates and et cetera, and some pretty smart people. There's a guy named Tom Lee that was on CNBC a couple of days ago, and he says he's very certain the market will be higher on December 31st than it is now, and he seems to be a pretty smart guy, but still, you have to go by the chart. And if the chart says it's time to sell, then you need to sell. If I sell TQQ, I'm instantly looking for the next buy opportunity.
I'm still at TQQ also.
Tom Lee's on the board of Bitmine Emergent Technologies. I thought he was the
Chairman of the board, and I think he said the other day that since he got involved, that thing is up 400 or 500%.
Yeah, he was at $4 and change and went up to 161 in 3 days or 4 days. Almost 4,000% move. But then it came back down to earth. All these companies are doing this. Tom Lee is one of the biggest names, if not the biggest go-to guy on the financial networks. He's on every day. He's all over YouTube also. And that's a big plus for that company. Ethereum is doing very well compared to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's in a rut, but Ethereum has had a breakout.
This is Floyd here. What I get tired of is sometimes I just decide to mute CNBC. They have so many commercials by people predicting the end of the world. And it's gee whiz, and they'll play it like once an hour, sometimes twice an hour or something. Some of these guys that claim they're world experts or whatever, and they've been predicting gloom and doom for so long that maybe eventually they'll be right. It's just a little discouraging to hear such negative sentiment. So sometimes I'll just hit the mute button.
I do agree with that. I'm really bad with news, so I don't ever watch the news. I'm going to share a different screen I'm looking at. So you guys already know, I like crypto, right? I used to mine crypto when I was a kid. When I was a kid, saying it's me in college with my gaming computer. Let's look at Bitcoin and Ethereum. In 2021, Bitcoin reached a high at 69,000. I switch different indexes to track Bitcoin once in a while. I always like the highest volumes. And in 2024, I reached a new high, and in 2025, I reached an even higher high. If you look at Ethereum, the current high is still back in 2021. In 2024, it tried to go back up, but it had a few turnarounds. But my VRBP needs to be ignored. And right now, it actually broke past this little resistance, but might be hitting a little bit of overhead resistance at 4,800. So Ethereum hasn't really go past Bitcoin yet. I do know the person who does Ethereum. He does acknowledge that the adoption of Ethereum has been a little slow, and that's why people have been going over to Solana, which is this coin, because of faster and cheaper processing at the current moment. But Ethereum is trying to catch up at the moment. These are all the coins I'm interested in, if anyone's curious. Anyone want to add to the Bitcoin?
People are talking about XRP doing well.
Let's look at XRP. So 2021, we talked about the highs, and just recently, 2025, over 50% more. XRP has sold. I think XRP is Ripple, and Ripple has gotten out of that lawsuit with the SEC. I remember reading a news article that said the SEC and the government actually going after the good guys. And I do agree with them, because I invest in some crypto hedge funds. These are great guys. They try to do everything by the book. And because they're on the news, they're just getting hammered and slapped. I'm like, dude, I had other crypto funds that are taking away money, and I'm doing a class action lawsuit with the Justice Department, and you guys aren't doing anything. But the guys who are actually trading and trying to do good for crypto, they're the ones getting slapped. So it's a rock and a hard place for some of the crypto hedge funds right now. So I believe that might be one reason why Ripple is going well, because finally good news is coming out about crypto. Besides, it's going to the moon.
Trump decided that you can put it in your 401k.
That's interesting. I looked at Trump's financial incentive. How does he make money? How does he get rich? And what's interesting is crypto's a decent part of his wealth strategy. His real estate might be in the red, he might be in the green, I don't know. But crypto can significantly increase his wealth because he has released a lot of his NFTs, figurines, his own coin, his own social media platform. So that's why he has a financial incentive for the crypto market to go upwards. I think people are motivated by money. Okay, let's go back to my slides. That is the leverage edge update. Larry did ask, what is my TQQ strategy? Perfect. My TQ strategy is pretty bad. Let's finish leverage edge first. Nail has been doing well all time. I take that back. Nail year to date hasn't been doing well. Same thing with Soxo, but they've had a huge gain recently. If you held the fangs, you've been doing pretty well. And the past week, definitely Nail has been doing well. Wait, the slide's getting weird. I want to take a look at Woo status. I'm going to switch my share screen. I'm going to go to the window of opportunity. This is also a little about my strategy. I follow multiple different people. I follow IBD because their follow through day, they never missed it. But the problem with never missing any bull runs is it's a very sensitive indicator that sometimes I can get a lot of false negatives. And what I hate the most is stalling days. The hardest thing now is when I sell early and there's no follow through day in sight. Do I just miss the whole bull run? Sometimes the answer is yes, I missed the whole bull run, and I have to just sit with myself and saying that is okay. So that's kind of my strategy. When there's a follow through day, when the woo goes green, I better be buying at least 25%, if not 50% of my portfolio in TQQ. I do trade differently in different accounts. But in my TQQ strategy, I typically always buy on follow through days, no matter what. You cannot be late. It's okay, because once you're late, you know how follow through days goes. They can just rocket upwards, and all of a sudden you miss your opportunity. So I also like to make another announcement: the San Francisco joint meetup. Because we are no longer affiliated with IBD, we should no longer use the IBD name in marketing practices. I might get a cease and desist letter from goes industrial. And I get into enough lawsuits for that to happen. So if we go back to what the IBD meetup was about, I've been to every single joint meetup. It's both held virtually and it's held. Oops. Okay. I'm just going to go to, sorry, bear with me. So this is IBD Bay. This is the IBD San Francisco Bay Area joint meetup. So we have some pretty cool speakers. I'll be attending in person. So if you're there, feel free to say hello. We're having in the Embassy Suites over in South San Francisco. So I'll just put a map and see where it is. If you guys want to fly in, San Francisco Airport's right over here, and it's a quick drive. Typically Friday, everyone takes a little group trip. We go up the California coast a little bit, either north or south, see the views, eat some clam chowder, and just hang out and just meet some other fellow traders. There's a few things. Ralph Desimone, he's an excellent negotiator. He did good hotel rides. Lee Tanner will be there. Michael Nesler, he's an ex-Google employee, full-time trader. Mike Scott, Pasadena IBD meetup. Henry Freeble, he does very good rule-based trading. Steve Sweats, he's from Louisiana, and he is just a bottle of information and energy. We have a few others from Thousand Oaks, like Jerry Samet. I think we're going to have Alex Marenko too. Ooh, Amy Smith is also attending. Alex Marenko is a former portfolio manager with William O'Neill, and Charles Harris is going to be there once again, and he's doing it for O'Neill Global Advisors. It'll be very interesting to meet with Charles and seeing how he's doing. He's experienced a lot of emotions inside the stock market where he has made what people have dreamed of to make, and he has made some mistakes along the way. We can all learn one or two things from him. If you guys want to chat between meetings, feel free to join the Google group link for Leverage ETFs. It's called Leverage ETFs. Feel free to shoot me a message, call me, text me, shoot me an email through themeetup.com. They both work. This is just to say, hey, I know some people request like, hey, just give me a text when you buy or sell. If you guys are still interested, I'll let you know the next time I buy so you can track my trades. You guys obviously see my portfolio already, which I'm up about 40% for the year, which is great. Let's stay connected. Any more questions? I'm happy to answer them, but that's pretty much the bulk of today's meeting. We talked a lot about stocks, had a lot of conversations, which is great. And if you want, I can show you a few different screens. We can talk more about different stocks. What does people prefer?
Hey, this is Floyd. If people are interested, back in May, I did a presentation on the zero date SPX. And depending on if people are interested or not, I can give you a summary. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever been involved in.
Floyd, I have you down for first stage base and how to handle them. Floyd, I'm going to have you down for potentially zero SPX.
For when?
Sure.
Just talking about giving a little summary tonight. It only take a couple of minutes. If I think most everyone's familiar, go back and look at the recording on the May meeting. I had a very comprehensive presentation on what is the zero DTE SPX and why is it an amazing opportunity for investors. It's only been available for about 3 years. Since April 1, I've traded 87 different days. In those 87 days, I've executed 441 iron condors on the SPX. They all expire at the bell. Like today, I had 7 iron condors on, and they all expired at 12 noon Alaska time. Either you do really well or you don't. And if you're not doing well, you can close them out early. In the 87 days I've traded, I've only had 4 losing days. And since April 1, my fairly large trading account is up 35%. I'd say 95% of all trades end up with the option positions expiring worthless. I usually hold them until the bell for a couple of reasons. One, I want to get maximum profit. And secondly, I don't want to pay 2 commissions. It's been quite an amazing experience for me, but I'll tell you one thing I learned real fast is I dropped E-Trade like a hot potato. In April, my fees and commissions with E-Trade were $15,000. I called them up and I said, hey, something's screwed up here, guys. You got to work with me. They basically told me they didn't care about me. So I started shopping around and I talked to Schwab. I talked to Tasty Trade. Seemed like a couple of other firms. I ended up going with Fidelity. And where E-Trade was charging me about 92 cents per contract. Fidelity's only charging me about 41 or 42 cents. If you're trading a lot of contracts, that ends up being a fairly significant number. I canceled my E-Trade account and moved it over to an account I already had with Fidelity. From my experience, if you're going to be trading a lot of contracts, the amount of fees and commissions is important to pay attention to. My experience after 87 days of trading has exceeded my expectations. I'm fine-tuning my approach. I have a son who lives in Virginia, and he was up here for about 10 days this summer. He's starting to trade with a smaller account, but he hasn't had a losing position yet because we're using ultra-low delta entry points. The ultra-low delta points, in my opinion, is something that's not talked about very much on the internet. Most people are going with deltas of 10, 12, 15. We're going with deltas of 2.5 or 3. And you end up getting lower commission, but the probability of success is probably 4 times higher than the people that are going with higher deltas. So I'm a chicken trader, basically. I don't like to be in and out of things a lot. It's like when I do TQQ, I'm using the weekly method instead of the daily method. I don't want to be a high frequency trader. My experience with the 0-date SPX is pretty amazing. One caution I will give you is if you want to trade it, you can't put an iron condor on 15, 20, or 30 minutes after the opening bell and then go away and do something for 4 hours and then come back and see how you're doing. You need to be able to look at the screen probably a minimum of once every 20 minutes just to see how your position is doing. And do you want to add any new positions or do you want to close the position you have? So it's not a buy and forget scenario at all. So it's for someone that wants to be a little more active. If you want to know more about it, just go back and watch the video for the May presentation that I did.
Any questions for Floyd, anyone? I'm giving everyone in the chat the link to the May recording.
Oh.
There we go.
If you have any interest at all, I strongly recommend you watch the recording before you do any trading.
I remember when Floyd asked me to work on the slides with him, I was like, can we draw the graphs? The problem was it changes because the delta is so small, meaning it's the same day expiration and it just expires the same day. So it's like, there's pretty much nothing. So it's like, how do you compare it in normal option standard? It's not easy. It's a short answer. Does anyone else have any other topics they want to talk about tonight? Any questions they have about psychology, any positions they want to do?
Hey, Haley,
Yes.
it's supposed to be about leverage ETFs. Have you thought about adding a list of leverage single stock ETFs? I've been trading a lot of those, and I don't know why they call them ETFs, but they do.
I'm making a note of that right now. I did not know that existed.
I don't think they can call them a stock because they're not a stock.
Exactly.
That's probably why they call them an ETF. Isn't there some, like for Apple, you can do Apple plus 1.5 or Apple times 2 or Tesla times 2. There's quite a few of those, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. They keep adding more almost daily, it seems like. And all the big stocks now have leverage single stock ETFs that you can trade to give a little bit more juice to the entity.
Larry, I don't remember what MMTS explicitly means on the Woo indicator. I'll get back to you, Larry, and I'll send an email to everyone about what's MMTS explanation. I'm just going through the chat to making sure we're not missing anything. Anything else for tonight? I do have a question. So I'll probably send out an email later. It probably won't be this month. It'll probably be later after I get the YouTube channel running. But I'm also going to take that leverage single stock ETFs and maybe I'll just have a whole Excel database that we shared with each other on what's leverage ETFs, leverage single stocks.
I'll send you my list of what I'm tracking.
Oh, that would be great.
That'd be a great start.
I can I'll add to the list. We have versioning history, so if someone accidentally deletes stuff, it'll be fine. I'll have a master list to make sure that it's only addable and non-deletable. I'm always paranoid about things. So Jennifer is asking, is AIRI? Interesting. I'm gonna zoom in a bit. No, it's a little bit small. Let's see what's going on here. Is there a new factor going on here? Because all I see is EPS lines straight horizontal. Price is going downwards. Like crazy. I'm like, what is going on in this industry? How is this company still surviving? Is it government contracts? Is that why? Does anyone have any insight on Air Industries Group? It's very low volume, about $3, so it goes about $1.8 million a day. Almost any person can blip it up or down. Jennifer, I was curious, how come you're interested in this stock?
It was developed by DeepSeek, one of the top players in AI right now. And it is biotech to enhance medical imaging analysis, X-ray, CT scans, MRIs, and other modalities like that. Of course, you got FDA clearances to work through, and I think that's what they're doing right now. But there's a lot of conversations in terms of integrating AI into EMRs, your electronic medical records. I was looking into this as a long-term hold for the future of healthcare.
I think I might have the wrong stock. IRI?
But you may the radiology AI radiology interface.
Trying to find this. Give me a sec. AI radiology. Now that sounds a lot better than F-35 contracts. I'm pretty sure I have the wrong stock. There's still airplane and defense contracts. I see Hartzell, MTT, NBIS. One more time. Was that you, Floyd?
Sorry, might have been me. Paulus, I'll go on mute.
No, this was a recent IPO.
You're not thinking of TEM, are you? TEM? Tempus Medical.
George, did you call out the ticker?
IR.
I just guessed.
Yeah, that's what I have it as. I don't know why it's not coming up right now.
Could it be a pink slip stock? Like it's on a different...
What price is it selling at?
Yeah, about 338.
338?
No, dollars.
Hey, Vic. Yep, you'll have a recording. I'm trying to get that all up and running right now. Another cool thing I'm trying to do with the recording is edit all our pausing. You see me typing on a computer right now, and we have a 2-hour meeting. I've been able to reduce the meeting to about 30 minutes. So my editing could save a lot of people's time. Maybe my goals are too big right now, but I want to make sure we get as much value from the video recordings and the meetings. If there's no other questions, I'm going to say the meeting is adjourned. I hope everyone enjoyed this conversation. There was no presentation, but it was an awesome discussion. That was a great discussion. I'm going to give a thumbs up. Thank you, Amy.
I enjoyed it very much.
Thank you, Gary, for your participation. Thank you, everyone, for their
Thank you
participation.
all.
Larry, I know you're in a busy space, so thank you for the links, for even telling us your little secrets, your little tidbits and thoughts. I highly appreciate that. That really adds to the discussion, especially going to Sound, Snowflake, Spot, DLO, even giving us new trading ideas. You guys talking about the volume. So thank you everyone for really participation in this discussion, and hope everyone got as much out of this as I did, because that really helped my volume explosion screener of filtering out the fundamentals and the technicals. Thank you, each and every single one, for your input. And we're going to have a great meeting next month on September 11th on Thursday. It finally hit, right? On a Thursday. I'll talk to everyone next month. And let's chat on Google Groups. How's everyone doing today? What up, George?
How you doing?
Not too bad. I've had a fun month.